is Stormy Monday, but Tuesday's just as bad, to give the song its proper title, was written by T-Bone Walker and first recorded by him in 1947. The original recording shows how the song started out as a very simple 12-bar, with the sequence looking something like this. It then quickly became a favourite jam session tune, and a whole variety of covers exist, ranging from the beautiful vocal renditions of artistes like Etta James, Nancy Wilson and Eva Cassidy, all the way to the frenetic psychedelic performance of Eric Clapton with John Mayall's Bluesbreakers in 1966. Then in 1971, the Allman Brothers recorded a live version over 8 minutes long that, for my money, is one of the best recordings of live music by any band ever. One I've listened to hundreds of times and never grow tired of. And this is the version we're going to look at in this lesson, as an example of how chord substitution can take a simple blues song and really send it into the stratosphere. Here's what they did with the chord sequence. First thing to notice is that most of the 7th chords have been changed to 9ths. Let's just look at 2 useful 9th chord shapes that we might use for a song like this. Firstly, rooted off the E string. So we use the 2nd finger for the root note at fret 3 on the 6th string, on the E string. And then we got our 1st finger on the G string, the 3rd string at fret 2. Remaining 2 fingers either side of that. So that's my 3rd finger on the D string at fret 3 and a pinky on the 2nd string at fret 2. So we can use just that shape for the whole of the intro simply by moving it around. We start with the G 9th, back to the A flat 9th, G flat 9th at fret 2, back to G, up to A flat, up to B flat at fret 6, back to G. So we need a little bit of a slide into that B flat, something like this. Now here's the whole intro broken down in slow motion. Remember, we're in 12/8 time, so we need to count in 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and Notice that we ended the intro on an augmented chord. This is a common substitution for the 5th or dominant chord of the key, especially in intros and turnarounds in slow jazz blues. When rooted off the 5th string like this, the chord looks a little bit like an open F chord that we'd normally play here, but shifted across onto the 5th string root and up to the 5th fret here to give us a D augmented chord. So that's 3rd finger, 5th string, 5th fret, 2nd finger, 4th string, 4th fret, 1st finger holding down the 3rd fret on the G string and the 3rd fret on the B string, just with a little mini bar shape there. And that can be played either as a straightforward chord or, as with its use in this intro, as an arpeggio. And it's nice to use that little slide into the root note there. Now, into the verse proper. What makes this recording of the song so remarkable is the light touch with which Duane Allman and Dickie Betts treat the chords. If we take the G9th chord shape and work just with these 2 notes on the 3rd and 4th fingers, the 4th and 2nd strings, we can get 3 different licks. The first one sounds like this, the second one like this, and the 3rd one like this. Looking at this diagram, you can see that I've coloured in the notes we're going to use in yellow. The little arrows show the way we're going to use slide, hammer on and pull off techniques to create some tasty chord based licks. Let's just break down each of these into the detail. In the first lick, I've simply got both the chord notes held down. That's the 4th fret, 4th string, 3rd fret, 2nd string, 3rd fret. And with my thumb and finger, I'm plucking both those strings, then sliding both notes up to the 5th fret, and without any further intervention from the right hand, back again to the 3rd fret. So that's in the second lick, I'm doing exactly the same thing with this hand, with the left hand, but I'm separating out the strings. So I'm playing the 4th string, sliding the shape up, and then playing the 2nd string to slide it back on. So up on the 4th, back on the 2nd. And the 3rd of those 3 licks is fairly similar, but this time we add an extra note. We come up on the 4th, hit the 2nd, and then hit the 4th again before coming back. So that's lick 1, lick 2, lick 3. Occasionally you'll also hear Duane Allman throw in this variant. Now, to get that, I've had to switch from using the 4th and 3rd fingers to using the stronger 2nd and 3rd fingers. Same 2 notes there. And this frees up the pinky to play this little hammer-on pull-off lick at fret 6, just adding that note to that one. So we're sliding up on the middle 2 fingers on the 4th string, so I'm plucking the 4th string, then I'm plucking the 2nd string, adding the hammer on, taking the hammer on off with a pull off, then sliding straight back again, but all rather neatly and quickly. When we change to the C9th chord, we can in fact take the G9th we've been using rooted on the E string and just slide it up to the 8th fret to get a C9th up there. But in practice were more likely to move the chord across to the A string root here. And that gives you a shape that looks like this. So we changed from the G ninth there to the C ninth there. So that's my second finger on the C note, third fret on the A string, first finger on the E note there, second fret on the D string, and then the top three strings all held down by that finger across like that. You may find that it's easy to put that finger on first and to just roll it over on its edge very slightly so that this finger points backwards in that direction a bit, like that. So that's a nice fifth string rooted ninth shape. And you'll notice that in this particular fingering we are including this top note. Some people will finger this shape like this on four strings, that's absolutely fine, but in this particular song you will want to bring that note in as well, so best use that little half bar to achieve that. Notice that this shape does have some similarities with the shape we were using for the G ninth chord, and this enables us to use exactly the same bunch of licks that we were using over the G ninth, but working the first and third strings rather than the second and fourth. So whereas with the G ninth we were using those two strings, the second and fourth strings, or we just move across to those two strings for the C ninth shape. If you're sort of playing a bit of chord at the same time, then you literally just use that third finger, and then with your thumb and finger here, or with the plectrum, just pick those two strings. Actually, it's quite hard to pick both strings if you're using the plectrum, but if you're doing it on both strings, pluck thumb and finger and just slide that up and back, up to the fifth fret and back. Or you separate them out, up on this string, up on the third string, back on the top string. Sorry. Or you go up on up on the third string, hit the top string and come back on the third string. So that was. Or the little hammer-on pull-off lick is particularly good on this one. For that I would tend to use both those middle two fingers there, second finger, third finger. So you're sliding up on that third string, then hitting the top string, adding the sixth fret on the top string and putting it off again, and sliding back. And that's a lick you'll hear Duane Allman using quite a bit on that C ninth chord there. So some great examples there of how to take the basic chord shapes and use them to develop some really effective licks that the rhythm guitarist can use. Next, in the third bar, the G ninth is played for two main beats. Then it's slid up one fret to A flat ninth for another two beats, and then back to G ninth for the whole of the fourth bar. This is then followed by another two bars of C ninth, which is then followed by a classic bit of chord substitution that works so well it's actually become known as the Stormy Monday changes. So this section starts by an ascending sequence rooted on the first three notes of the major scale, G major scale, G, A, B. So we use G7, 2 beats, up to A minor 7th for 2 beats, B minor 7th, 2 beats, and then we link back via the B flat minor 7th to A minor 7th, where we sort of pause and hold that for a whole bar. And then we shift up to C minor 7th for a whole bar, before coming back to a more or less conventional turnaround of G 7th, C 9th, G 7th, and then the D augmented that we used in the intro. Now for the G 7th chord, you can use an ordinary bar chord, rooted on the G there, the 6th string. So that's an E-shaped bar chord or an E7 shaped bar chord. But to get you a little bit more in the direction of playing like a jazz guitarist, why not have a go at this 4th string 7th shape? When you play this shape, the 5th string can either be muted, so you can see here the first finger's holding down the root note on the 6th string, but the underside of that finger is just touching the 5th string to mute it out. So if you're using a pick, that's how you use that shape. Or if you're using fingerstyle with your thumb on that 6th string, you just put the other 3 fingers on the 2nd, 3rd and 4th string, and you simply just miss out the 5th string. Actually, the lightness with which they play this on the live recording, you could just leave your bass player to look after the root note and play this as a 3-note chord, just on the 2nd, 3rd and 4th string like that. We then move on up to the A minor 7th chord, which I'm going to recommend this shape for, which we normally play with 2nd and 3rd fingers like this. So there, my 2nd finger is on the root on the 6th string, and my 3rd finger is looking after those 3 strings there, 2nd, 3rd and 4th strings, as a sort of half bar. And you find that either the tip of this finger mutes out the 5th string, or the underside of that finger, or a little bit of both. Doesn't much matter as long as you don't hear that string. So again, you can either play that with your thumb and fingers, selecting those strings, or by muting that out, you can strum straight across like that. A useful variant of this minor 7th, if you'd like to pick out the part that Dickie Betts plays over the next few bars, is this shape. This enables a nice bit of extra ornamentation of the chord. So from the G 7th then, just on the 2nd, 3rd and 4th strings, to the A minor 7th, let the chord shape slide up for the B minor 7th, and then just add that note there. So it's kind of like that note and that note together, and then that note and that note together. So it's A flat minor 7th, all with that same shape. And then on the C minor 7th, I think he uses a combination of 2 shapes. Starting with this one, you can see it, I've highlighted in yellow the 2 sort of notes that you can hear out of that chord the strongest. So So from the B minor 7th, A minor 7th, for whole bar, remember, and then to this shape, which we've just shown you, highlighting those two notes on the top strings. And then he links up to this shape at the 8th fret and really just picks off again the top 3 strings really. I've highlighted 2 of them, but I think there's more like 3. So from this shape at the 3rd fret, we link up to the 8th fret, and I'm really just highlighting the top 3 strings there. So quite a lot of detail there, so let's just go over that again from bar 7 to bar 10. They go like this. Starting with the G7th. Then we finish the verse with the turnaround, which is G7, C9, G7, D augmented. And again, I'm just sliding into that D note on the 5th fret, 5th string, and straight across to the 4th fret on the D string, 3rd fret on the G string, and folding over to the D 3rd fret 2nd string there. So that's, and you're back into the next verse. Understanding and learning to use these chord shapes should enable you to emulate most of the rhythm guitar playing on this recording. More importantly, I feel though, is to use these ideas just as a point of departure from which to develop your own approach to playing along to the song. So once you've had a go at this and worked out a few ideas of your own, do have a go trying them out against the special backing track that we've made to go with this lesson. It just includes bass drums and a bit of computerized keyboards. And you'll find that in the usual place from the toolbox to the right of the screen if you're on the Secret Guitar Teacher website. In the next lesson, we'll take a close look at Duane Allman's solo on this track. And we'll go over the first verse of that solo lick by lick to help provide you with some insight into his unique style of blues lead playing. So I look forward to you joining me for that.